Hello, everyone. Welcome to another talk here. It's September 22nd, early afternoon. And so I'm going to talk a little bit under the umbrella of improvisation topics. And so more specifically, we're going to think about the pentatonic scales. And so I'll do a little bit of playing and with the effort of kind of using some of these things that we'll be talking about. It'll be a little bit similar to the melodic structures in a way. So. Okay, so a couple of things I'm just thinking there, and I'm really kind of deliberately working at spelling out some of these pentatonic type scales that we'll be talking about today. And similar to the melodic structures, we can bring these under, say, about, a few, maybe a little bit more than the melodic structures, but just as a baseline of things to think about. But let's say, let's bring up their keyboard here and let's work on, let's say, C. Okay, so if we had C major, okay, there are a variety of things that we could do, of course, but we're going to talk about foundational kind of things. So a C major arpeggio, or not arpeggio, but a C major pentatonic scale, that outlines a, not so much the major 7, but the 6-9 kind of sound. So you can probably hear how that kind of overlaps there. Now there are ways that we can work in the major 7. So for example, similar to what we did with the melodic structures, I think I talked about a little bit towards the end, is maybe using a different pentatonic scale. So let's say we had C major 7, but we played more of like a G major pentatonic. So okay, so we're still using the same kind of sound. Hopefully that all came across there. So that would be like a G pentatonic. Maybe I should turn down so I can dig in a little bit more. So there are a couple just things, but you can use as a starting point, think about the major pentatonic on some of those moments. So So let's take a moment to, let me talk about the minor as well. Um, so let's say you may have heard me play on let's say the D minor. So you might play a minor 6 pentatonic on that. Okay. So a minor pentatonic would also work. But let's start with the minor 6 pentatonic as sort of a foundational sort of shape. All right, so I'll go through and I'll play a little bit and see if you can listen for those moments where we end on a chord like the G, the C, and the E minor in particular. And then I'll get into the dominant pentatonic in a minute, but we'll talk about those kind of tonic, major, and minor kind of sounds here. Okay, so those are some of those moments, and went into some pentatonics and other spots as well. But let's take a look at so the dominant pentatonic. Okay, so we have this moment where we have the A7. Okay. All right, so we could take sort of the major. You might think of the major pentatonic or A major pentatonic. But rather than playing this note, we're going to play this note. Okay, that's from the same collection of notes as that minor 6 pentatonic as well. So it's kind of a mode of that as well. Okay, so let's take a look at or take a listen to that. So let's say we have A7. Okay, so we get that sort of sound. Now we could weave that back and forth, you know, we could play. Okay. And then on the D7 as well. Okay, we can get that same sort of sound. So we're getting a root, 3rd, and 5th, and then also we're getting a 9 and a flat 7. So as you can hear, it's a little bit similar to the melodic structures that we talked about. All right, so we'll do a little more playing and see if we can come across those moments with a dominant pentatonic. they're and of course you don't have to use them kind of exclusively either. So we might do a little stepwise motion. So, but you can kind of use the pentatonics to create a little bit of a framework, right? Because one thing that's really beneficial about the pentatonics on guitar, whether you're playing blues guitar or rock guitar or jazz guitar or country or any style. So this scale on the instrument of the guitar is really technically fairly, I don't want to say easy, but it's accessible and it kind of works well, and it's effective. Okay, so if we have a scale, so this is one of the first ones that folks oftentimes learn here. So A minor pentatonic. Okay, so what is going on there with why is it technically sort of not too hard to do, at least if you've been playing for a little while? Well, we have 2 notes per string, right? So the fingers can say, oh, can kind of handle 2 notes here, and then it has a very open sound too. So just in general, but on guitar it works out really nicely because you have a position, 2 notes per string. You don't even have to really shift usually. So so that creates a good foundation. Now, one thing that we're doing with this is learning a little bit about maybe different modes of the pentatonic as they relate to, just on a practical level, some of the changes for this tune, Nuage. So you take a chord like C, okay, and we have major pentatonic, right? Or C minor, okay, so you have minor pentatonic. Or, when you get to the, let's see, F9, or if you think of it as A minor 7 flat 5, or F7 over A, or whatever it is, think, okay, maybe you can use the dominant pentatonic. So those two basic types of pentatonic scales, the major pentatonic and its relative minor, and really all the modes of it, and then the minor 6 pentatonic or the dominant pentatonic. So some kind of well-worn paths there. So you might say, okay, well, it's really useful for dominant, obviously. The minor 6, okay. And now another thing we can kind of do too is to take, let's say we have this minor 7 flat 5 in this tune, Nuage. What if we took the minor pentatonic and just lowered that 5th? Okay, so then we get something that really works pretty nicely on the A minor 7 flat 5. So that's another moment there. So let me do a little more playing and just kind of drop in a little bit more of these ideas as we go along here. Go a little bit slower. so there, we're working in that basically kind of thinking in terms of some chord scales there. So we have the, and we'll think in terms of these these notes. Okay, so we have, so you can relate this to the arpeggio. Okay, so we have that. Okay, and then add this note in here, so it's kind of a non-chord tone. So that's another perspective on it. So what do we do on some of these dominant seventh chords that maybe have a flat nine? So basically, you just flat the nine. So you take the dominant pentatonic and you flat the nine. So okay, so that's another moment in there. So you can take let's say there was some moment we play B7, so we could have maybe a flat nine on that. So we end up with dominant pentatonic with flat nine. So let's listen for that as well. So I'm not using the MIDI neck during the playing part because it's with slurring and everything. It's going to kind of not show up quite as well. So we incorporated some of those flat nines in there with the dominant pentatonic. So that is, an idea of using some of these things to help practice outlining the changes. And when you go to take a solo, if you're playing out somewhere, playing in a jam session, or playing in a restaurant or concert, whatever it is. Of course, you're going to kind of sit in the moment and sort of not overthink it or deliberately play all this. But these are things that you can do in your practice to internalize some things, and they will at some point just kind of come out more spontaneously in the moment. So we don't have to deliberately think, okay, I'm going to play this now and all that. All right, so there are, quite a few pentatonic type scales that you can use on chords and chord changes to work with just about any change. Now, in these particular changes, which I might do another backing track just to kind of change things up, but we have this kind of B, F step to C kind of thing going there. But you might also play change like this. So I might do a backing track with something a little more like this. F sharp, minor 7, flat 5, and going to be, right? So then you can play some of those pentatonics as well. So let's list pretty much what we have kind of covered. Let's take a C chord and just kind of start with that. So we have C. Okay, we could have, say, C major pentatonic. If we have more like C dominant 7, we could even still use that same one, but we get a chord tone if we use that dominant pentatonic. So remember, it's pretty similar, right? So some other chords that we talked about. Well, let's talk about the C7 with a flat 9. So then we just alter that dominant pentatonic to help us work with that. All right, so another instance was the what was it? The minor 7, flat 5, right? Okay, minor 7, flat 5. Right. So there, well, let's talk about minor first. Let's just talk about natural minor before we get into all that. Okay, so we have, oh, there we go. That's better. Like, okay, that's not right. There we go. C minor. So minor pentatonic. So start with, the minor pentatonic. Okay, and then well, before we go into that, okay, let's back up again. Okay, so we have minor 7. How about minor 6? Okay. Okay, so we can think about that pentatonic as well. I know this probably seems like a lot to absorb, but it's maybe not as complicated as it sounds. So just try, if this is all new, just try to spend a little time on each thing. Okay, so let's go back to the minor 7 for a moment. Okay, and then do a minor 7, flat 5. Okay, so we just lower this note here. So everything that I'm talking about here is just a little, closely related to either the major pentatonic or the minor pentatonic, and then I guess the dominant pentatonic, especially with the flat 9, is a little further reaching there. So just try to spend a little time on all that. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of playing here right at the end, and we'll work on hopefully everything's going. I've just got this notice. All right, so if you're checking out this on the podcast, the live stream software just crashed, so not sure what happened there. But let's see if we can get that up and rolling again here. Sorry for the interruption. This podcast is primarily live, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but I think we should be up and running here again. Just a moment. So I'm going to play a little bit, And sorry about all that. And get going. So sorry about the interruption there on the video as well, live stream. Something just crashed and got it back and running again. So again, not sure what happened there, but do our best here. Okay, here we go. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for checking this out. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're checking this out on the podcast, please visit fretprints.com and also youtube.com/fretprints to check out a video version of this. And if you're already a member checking this out, thanks for being a member. And I'm definitely looking for feedback and topics and things that you're interested in. So please leave a comment. All right, well, I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great practice session.